Hi everyone, so we are going to start the work on the front bumper replacement. I've installed the number plate to the bumper using two flanged bolts and nuts from behind, and it is firmly secured in place. Now we'll head down to the basement and remove the old stock bumper and install the new one in place. When I referred the parts diagram for this bumper, I found that there is a hole at the top corners, one here, and you also have another one there. And these are in turn, aligned with the wheel well liner or the fender lining, which is there in the wheel well. So I'm not sure if we can remove the bumper without removing the wheel. In any case, we'll go and see how it's done. Additionally, at the bottom of the bumper, there is one hole here. There's another one at the center right here, and you also have another one here. Plus, you also have one hole inside the indicator lens on either side, one here and another one here, which are in turn secured to metal brackets fixed to the body frame. So if you see here, you can see a screw somewhere around right there. So that is held to the body. At the bottom, you will see one right here. I can't seem to find a screw here, which seemed to have rusted and gone. I have another one here in the corner and a Phillips head screw in the wheel well, similar to the other side. So let's see if we can remove all this without, removing the wheels. And here on the indicator lenses, I've sprayed a bit of WD-40 to easen up the screws. So that's done. Pull the indicator assembly out of the socket. Oh wow, they don't even have a connector here. Can't seem to find a screw there. So I sprayed some WD-40 on all these rusted screws. So maybe that's helping in removing these easily. Unscrew and pull out the indicator assembly, and we have a connector on this side fortunately. The hex head bolt on this side is clearly visible. We have also removed the two hex bolts at the outer corners of the bumper. There is another one here at the center below the front grille. You can see the rusted hex head of it. We have to remove this. We'll remove the front grille now. To remove the front grille, you have three hex bolts at the top. They additionally have hex nuts at the back. So there is a likelihood that the bolts may start spinning. So take care of that. So the front grille is removed, and this is that rusted screw at the top of the bumper. I'll have to splice these cables which go to the indicator, but I'll have to do them individually to avoid an instance of shorting. You can see that the condenser is gone. It is bent, out of shape, clearly visible from this angle. So you can see that this particular member which is held to the structure, that is also connected to the crossbar. That is what is holding the bumper. I have the replacements for this, so we'll change that. All these bolts are in a bad state of rust, so you'll have to spray a lot of WD-40 on them. Finally, that bracket is off. Now we'll install the new bracket to the body. Now if you were to compare the old and the new side by side, you will notice that the old one isn't in a very bad shape. It is slightly rusted, paint is off, but you can see this welded nut here at the bottom. That's the reason I wanted to change it. But this bolt you see here, which is stuck, I tried my level best to remove it, even used a set of vice grip pliers, but it just wouldn't budge. You'll have to basically cut it out. So what we'll do is we'll just align the new bracket in front of the hole there. Before we secure the bracket completely with the body, we'll also connect it to the crossbar there. So before you completely tighten this bolt, you'll also have to connect it here. Basically just align the hole there and insert a bolt through this nut. I forgot to mention, we'll be using a new set of fasteners completely. So the bracket on this side has been firmly secured to the body and the crossbar. Now we'll attend to the other side. When you buy these bolts, it's always a good idea to buy a surplus quantity. You never know if the thread gets damaged or if the parts diagram is wrong. I do not have a replacement crossbar, so I'll just clean this with a bit of WD-40 and we'll wipe it after that. I should have actually got a replacement crossbar because this one has rusted at a few places, as you can see, and I think it's a mistake, but nevertheless I'll probably do it for another DIY. It is very cheap, it hardly costs about anything. So we have installed the new brackets on the left and right side, and we'll install the bumper. But before that, we also have to attend to that indicator wiring which we had spliced. So we'll do that. So I have installed these crimp type connectors to the indicator assemblies connections. Previously they were taped and therefore we had to splice them to remove it. In this case, it is easy to remove them if I want to remove the indicator assembly at a later stage. And these connectors are also foolproof. You can't connect them in other directions, and the one with the metal part is actually the ground, so no problem even if it were to touch the metal part of the bracket or the body. So this is that new indicator assembly. It is from Yonominda. Yonominda is also one of the OEMs to many car manufacturers like Lumax. Like I said before, we'll be using new fasteners, so there's no worry of rusting for some time. We have secured the fasteners at the bottom of the bumper. Now we'll install the fog lamps. Sorry, indicator lamps. Just do a quick check to see if the indicators are working. The lettering on the lens should be at the top. Don't over tighten these Phillips head screws. It'll cut a thread on the plastic bumper. The connector on the driver side indicator would not connect to the stock connector. That's a lot of connectors in one sentence. So we'll do a fresh crimping. Crimping is done. Let's do a quick test to see if it's working. Again, don't over tighten these screws. So guys, it's finally done. We are calling this a wrap. We have secured the bumper to the body. There you go. I just wanted to show those two screws or rather bolts at the bottom of the bumper. There is one here in this corner which is attached to the bracket. There is another one at this side right here. So here is a result in broad daylight. Now let's have a look at all the parts that have been used in this DIY. This is the front bumper. This is the front left indicator. This is the front right indicator. Both are from Yonominda. These are the metal brackets. This one's for the right side and this one is for the left. It's a good idea to change these because there's a good chance they would have been rusted by now. These are those Phillips head screws, very commonly used. This is that M6 hex head bolt. It's, like I said, a good idea to buy a lot of these fasteners. This is the nut onto which the Phillips screw secures itself. This is the parts diagram that shows all the parts in this DIY. Before I wrap my video, I wanted to share how I sourced these bumpers. I did not get them from Budmo because Budmo charges an exorbitant amount for shipping. Instead, I approached the MGP outlet here, and one of these guys said the parts for Zen have all been stopped. Clearly, he wasn't aware. So I moved on to another store somewhere in GP Road. And those guys were very helpful, and he suggested that I pay him a very small advance upfront, so I end up buying it from him later. So I did that. I sent him the screenshots over WhatsApp, and he said that these parts would arrive within 10-15 days, so he would inform me. The parts came and he requested me to collect them. But I was not traveling 20-25 kilometers to collect them from where they were. So instead, I booked a transport facility through the Porter app, and they loaded these bumpers onto something like a Tata Ace. They charged me about 600 bucks, and the helper was the driver himself. So he loaded those bumpers onto the Ace, and I collected them from my office, loaded them into my car, and took them to my apartment. So I didn't have to visit the outlet. So you can do something like this in case you feel, transportation is hard for you. That's all for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on the Zen's restoration. If you have any comments, let me know in the section below.